If this is your first time on my channel, welcome Red Heart. I try to give you really good content every day. If you like it, subscribe now, so I know you're on my side. She was Britain's most hated woman as the third spouse in a compelling marriage. Broke the world. Queen Camilla did not survive the 1990s by coincidence. Her measured patience allowed her survive and become a revered UK queen. This royal family enmity goes beyond fraternal rivalry. A woman with absolute power in the crown has a subtle impact in the plot. Her activities behind palace doors in 2026 contradict her public image of steady support. Learn how a man's mistress became queen, threatening the monarchy. Spare, Prince Harry's 2023 memoir, sparked a heated debate in 2026. He claimed Camilla sacrificed him on her PR altar, showcasing her rise from outsider to sovereign. Not a hysterical tantrum. Clinical depiction of a decades-long strategy. Princess Diana's death didn't make Camilla famous early. She and King Charles employed PR experts like Mark Bolan to undertake Operation Parker BS, a gradual image rehabilitation. The other woman felt protected and supported with well-timed leaks and orchestrated appearances. Theory says rehabilitation is complete by 2026. The king's connection with his youngest son is entirely ruined. Camilla goes beyond wifehood, snorts. As a palace politician, she knows that institutional stability frequently requires sacrificing personal feelings for monarchy success. Camilla's Wiltshire hideaway, Ray Mill House, proves her independence. Although she lives at Clarence House and Buckingham Palace, Ray Mill is her priority. After her divorce from Andrew Parker BS, she bought the 17-acre estate for £850,000 in 1996, symbolizing a life the king cannot govern. Contrary to the king's edict, the area is purposefully messy. At Ray Mill's cushions are flat, stables are noisy, and the air smells of cigarettes, which she tried to quit. This house symbolizes independence. She entertains her children and grandchildren here, apart from royal court procedure. For her privacy, the king bought a nearby £3 million house in early 2025. This highlights how important this sanctuary is for her mental well-being. Inside these walls, Camilla is not queen. She kept her name, money, and exit strategy. Her freedom empowers her in the family feud. Her independence from the monarchy gives her psychological leverage over younger, more dependent royals. Camilla is the main gatekeeper while King Charles's cancer treatment shortens in 2026. The palace circle's stir creates a quiet high-stakes tempest. Snorts, she controls the king's energy, correspondence, music, and family access. It has strained relations with the Prince and Princess of Wales. Kate is considered the future, but reports say she and Camilla are fighting over the king's legacy. Friction is fast and useful. Prince Andrew's expulsion from Royal Lodge and Prince Harry's likely return are the main plot points. Camilla prioritizes containment in 2026. She avoids awkward reconciliations that could damage the king's rehabilitation or the crown's reputation. Prince William struggles to prepare for his throne transfer because the monarch filters all family business based on physical and emotional access. Reconciliation in royal families is costly. It costs a lot, often discreetly. Prince Harry targets the dangerous woman with public and private donations to pay taxes. The Duke of Sussex and the Crown are resolving logistical issues in January 2026, but the emotional barrier persists. Harry entered Court 76 of the Royal Courts of Justice in London on January 21, 2026. He sat comfortably with a bottle of water and a decades-old complaint, surrounded by security. This is his third major newspaper publisher target. A final clash with the British music press made him paranoid, he says. He stands in court and is overwhelmed by palace calm. The Harry tax is seeing that reintegrating into his father's life may be too expensive despite judicial victories. Harry's security changed most in early 2026. Harry Snorts received individualized protection from Rake, the government organization responsible for royal safety, after leaving in 2020. He argued for years that outdated threat assessments put his family at risk, highlighting real risks the public rarely sees. A fresh danger assessment reinstated automatic armed police protection in early 2026. It's a double-edged sword, despite appearing to win. A British taxpayer sees it as a unique fee to protect a man who moved away. Harry's main reason for not visiting the UK is erased, says the palace. Once security is resolved, personal problems take precedence. The security argument has been eliminated, revealing a son-stepmother conflict. King Charles reportedly asked Harry and Meghan to stay at Highgrove House in Gloucestershire for their Invictus Games start visit in mid-January 2026. Highgrove goes beyond housing. Charles's soul lives in the 900-acre ecological paradise. He gardens, retreats, and most importantly, has Camilla here. The king tests Harry's devotion to Camilla's 30-year ecology by proposing Highgrove, 76 miles from Birmingham but far from London. Camilla has it, snorts. Highgrove is where Harry witnessed his mother's darkest suffering. The invitation is aimed to force Harry to accept the new hierarchy. He remains the obstacle if he refuses. He acknowledges Camilla as the household matriarch by accepting. A specific apology demand shows the Harry tax. Royal sources say the king is suffering from the distance but faithful. Although King's 2026 health reports show reduced cancer treatment, his death experience has made him less tolerant of family disputes. He apparently said Camilla's role is immutable to advisors. Harry must honor the Queen publicly upon his return. The king, who loves writing, expects a letter or declaration to disprove the villain narrative of Spare. Harry has a tough choice. Apologizing to Camilla disrespects Princess Diana. Refusing will keep him in exile while his father rules. Harry's 2026 life is a study of solitude. While he was in court, Charles and Camilla attended church at Sandringham this week, meeting well-wishers in the fresh Norfolk air. The contrast is stark. One man fights 1993 and 2011 spirits in a sterile courtroom. Another leans on his last support, a lady. Also chronological, the Harry tax. Each month without a reconciliation cements the current quo. The palace stops responding to Harry in 2026. Passing him by. The monarchy has acclimated to his absence, but Camilla has plans. Meghan Markle's prospective return to the UK with Archie and Lead is being explored, but it would be a full surrender of Harry's years-long storyline. Camilla causes a stir by defining limits, not by fighting. Her best defense against Harry's claims is silence. Refusing to engage has made Harry the victim of paranoia and lawsuits while she remains the king's dignified consort. Harry tax is peace fee. Acknowledging that the third spouse lived and won is expensive. As Harry prepares to present his final privacy lawsuit proof, the world awaits his decision to enter Highgrove or stay and pay the tax. He built his own lonely, expensive security. Royal family architecture changed in 2026. While unified, the system is split by competing interests and courts. From a slight dispute over music scheduling, King Charles and Queen Camilla at Buckingham Palace and the Prince and Princess of Wales at Kensington Palace have split. William and Kate will live at Forest Lodge, an 8-bedroom Windsor Great Park home, permanently. Living continuously at Windsor, the Welsh may be trying to counter Camilla's growing influence on the king's daily schedule. On Wednesday, January 14, 2026, it was reported that Kate and Camilla no longer get along owing to clinical politeness. William hired an Edelman crisis management expert to boost his standing. His hiring shows he no longer trusts his father's courtiers with his reputation. Due to the Queen's apparent gatekeeping, fewer people can influence the King's long-term institutional decisions. Real estate is the key dispute ground. Especially with the poisonous Royal Lodge issue. The public views Prince Andrew's exile as royal discipline, but the Queen and heir are playing a high-stakes game. Andrew thinks the king wants to leave the 30-room mansion to protect Camilla. Family whispers that the queen may use the royal lodge as her Windsor headquarters if she outlives the king, like her mother. William, who prompted Andrew's final reckoning and title stripping in late 2025, opposes this proposal. William regards the land as a strategic asset for his family's future, thus using it to ensure Camilla's permanent status in Windsor causes friction. As the monarch rejected William's decision to ban certain family members during the Christmas walk at Sandringham, tension soared. Camilla's goal of a more inclusive family facade hiding severe dysfunction was achieved. In addition to palaces and staff, the Queen and her successor have a psychological conflict. Princess Kate returned to full duties in late 2025 after her cancer treatment, signaling a change in authority and high standards in the royal household. Camilla is unhappy with Kate's plan to enhance responsibility and cut royal spending, sources say. The tactic would weaken the Queen's social circle. Since her husband rules, Camilla notices a power shift. As William becomes king, a king and queen who were excluded by her strategy will pursue Camilla. Camilla fights to safeguard her legacy and assets before the 2026 power change, unleashing quiet energy. The debate involves a woman who spent 30 years at the top only to find that her successors are destroying the system she relied on for existence. Clarence House meals and joint engagements show harmony, but the monarchy's two most powerful women are in their most serious conflict in decades. The final nail was needed. Queen Camilla survived to consolidate by 2026. Her stronghold is confirmed by the systematic elimination of her enemies. Prince Andrew's impending dismissal from Royal Lodge is the clearest indicator of this power shift. By the end of the month, the 30-room royal house will be empty after decades of inactivity. This move was clinical administrative elimination facilitated by a monarch who no longer wants to maintain the past, not impulsive fury. As the king's moral compass, Camilla influenced this historical choice. She discreetly keeps the king focused on his brother's affiliations' institutional damage as a champion for abuse victims. Eviction proves queen consort customs now limit royal families. Ambiguity and guarded privilege are unacceptable. Andrew hopes to move to Marsh Farm, a smaller, flood-prone Sandringham property. His body deteriorates to represent his new existence. He's moving from a 30-room palace to a farmstead that requires considerable repairs. The old guard is calmly and professionally removed by a queen who knows the crown's survival depends on removal of the most dangerous members. The palace is professional and detached. No longer shielded by emotions, the Duke of York follows the new reign norms. Camilla, once contentious, now enforces royal accountability to save King Charles's legacy from his brother's issues. Camilla's biggest strategic maneuver was enabled by the early 2026 King's health enhancement. Since Charles's miraculous recovery reduced his cancer treatment, the Queen began redefining her royal role. In April 2026, she gave minor tasks to younger royals anxious to show themselves. This is a planned move towards a more structured and impactful presence, not obscurity. She prioritizes a few patronages and international visits, including a much-anticipated state visit to the U.S. later this year. This move lets her concentrate self-care and quiet time at Raymill House while honoring the king. This strategy has two benefits. It preserves her support for the king's stability and boosts the Prince and Princess of Wales' profile. To ensure a seamless handover of power that maintains Charles's work, Camilla steps back to examine the future king and queen's readiness. Her 2026 influence comes from being the best strategist. Her title has expanded beyond king's wife. Manages the family's public and private interests. Her routine reflects her newfound power. The speaker studies state papers at Clarence House in the mornings and relaxes at Raymill House in the afternoons. Her perseverance comes from this dual existence. She lives centrally and independently of the state. The king's recovery has allowed her to take final measures, making the monarchy a tribute to her discipline and resilience. Royal family feud, time and lawsuit erase Prince Harry's return. As Harry arrives in a London courtroom in January 2026, he appears further from the crown than ever. Duke of Sussex testified in his significant privacy case against Associated Newspapers in the Royal Courts of Justice on Wednesday, January 21, 2026. The witness spoke about the awful intrusion that left him scared and isolated while the king was 400 miles away in Scotland. There was no reunion, secret supper, or bridge over the gap. Instead of an explosion, Camilla quietly dissolved the typical family relationship. She heads a calm, disciplined court after scandals and detractors. Instead of avoiding headlines, Queen Camilla's legacy is silence. She went from being the third in a marriage to designing a strong, modern crown. Her everyday life is now carefully planned, with every Sandringham walk and private lunch a souvenir of her 30-year career. The institution rejected her. The institution was modified to ensure her legacy at the conclusion of this era. Harry's 2026 court battles seek a disappeared past. Camilla believes in her future. The mistress, once a significant threat to the monarchy, is now its most important defender. She created a new loyalty and discretion order from the family conflict chaos, eliminating rivals. The Queen is the last guard at the gates as the sun sets in this royal play. A woman who has changed 21st-century royal survival via patience and strategy, music.